morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Wash your hands, wash, wash, wash. Shake your hands, shake, shake, shake. Brush your teeth, brush, brush, brush. All right. Good morning.
It works better if the microphone is turned on too. Yeah, so should be able to hear me now. Sorry about that. You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything. You just missed me going on and on about how awesome the morning show is and that we do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So sorry about that. I turned the mic down before I come on, and then I just forgot to turn it on. I'm a real professional here. Yeah. It's a professional operation here. Monday morning. Yeah, good morning, BVD.
Just waiting for you to turn the mic on.
I was doing my best BVD impersonation there by starting the show with no volume.
Oh, you got a long way to go, buddy.
Yeah. How was your weekend, BVD?
Outstanding.
Anything exciting?
Good boring basketball on Saturday. Some good exciting football on Sunday. A couple of great live streams. It was a great weekend.
Yeah.
How about you?
Lou Jr.'s birthday was a week or so ago. And we always have a hard time with his birthday because his birthday always comes before the kids start back to school, so it's always hard for him to invite his friends from school over for a birthday party or whatever. So we waited until this weekend to do it. So they went back to school last week, and then he had his birthday party this weekend, and he decided he wanted to have a slumber party here over here at the Lou Cave. So house full of 10 and 11-year-olds all weekend.
Wait. Did you say a slumber party?
Yes.
Okay. Proceed. Just making sure I heard that right. I thought slumber parties were for girls, but anyway.
No, slumber party over here, house full of 10 and 11-year-olds. It was amazing. Yeah. And I took them all to one of those, I don't know if they have one up there where you're at, or if you're watching, if they have one near you, but one of these indoor trampoline parks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard of them. We don't have one here, but I've heard of them.
We've had one here for a few years now. I don't know. It's been like bought out a couple of times and then renamed. Like it used to be called Airstrike. Now I think it's called Defy or something. But I mean, it's pretty. I would have loved to have had something like that when I was a kid. I mean, it's it's not just trampolines. They have like obstacle courses in there, and I mean, they have all kinds of stuff in there. But so I took them up there for a couple hours on Saturday. Took them all out to eat pizza at Lou Jr.'s favorite pizza place. Yeah. So I did the dad thing this weekend. But man, it's rough having a house full of kids running around. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I have a daughter, so I've been through many of those.
Yeah.
Slumber parties with little girls, and
yeah,
I can't even imagine what it's like with a bunch of little boys.
Luann's a little older, so she's had a few of these. Sometimes on her birthday, sometimes just maybe over the summer or something. She's had 2 or 3 friends over to spend the night or something, but doesn't happen very often. But what amazes me now, obviously, anytime you have a bunch of kids over to your house, like there's just certain things you expect and you just know, like something's probably going to get broke, a mess is going to get made,
somebody's feelings are going to get hurt.
Right. Especially, and that's especially true. You got me off topic with that, but you bring up a great point. Every single time Luann has more than one friend over here, whether it's 3, 4, 5, whatever, there's always one that for whatever reason is like left out. Like I don't understand why girls do that. Like that's never the case when Lou Jr. has friends over. They all play together. They all get along the whole time. But I've said for a long time, there's no such thing as like 3 girls that are best friends. Like there's always it's always 2-on-1 for whatever reason. And when Luann has more than one friend over, there is always one that gets their feelings hurt. I don't understand that.
Man, I thought that
boys
was
aren't
just
that way.
I thought that was just a up here thing.
No.
You're spot on, dude. It was the same with Kayla. Jesus, man. What? Yeah, why is that? I mean, we know, you and I both know. All right, we know that women are different. There's certain things you just have to expect when you get more than 2 females together at the same time. But I was the same way. I never understood the whole why it was 2-on-1 thing.
Yeah, it's very strange, and it doesn't happen with Lou Jr. Like he can have 3 people over, he can have 5 people over. They all get along great. Now they might be playing football out in the yard and somebody gets tackled too rough and they wrestle around for a few minutes or whatever, but that's what boys do. But then 30 seconds later, that that's it. It's over and done with. They're back to being best friends again. But man, girls get mad at each other. That's like a 6 or 7 month ordeal. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then the worst part is because Luann has a couple of friends who me and Mrs. Lou have become friends with their parents just because the kids spend so much time together, And so when those kids get into the argument where they're not, we're not friends anymore. Well, what happened? And that's funny too when you try to ask them what happened and they try to explain to you why one of them is mad at the other or whatever, and it's like the more they explain it, the less sense it makes, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it's hard when you're like, it's happened a couple of times. Luann has this one friend in particular. And they've been like best friends since they were 3 or 4. They do this dance. They're in the same dance school or whatever here in town. And so they've just known each other forever. And she's been over here to spend the night probably 100 times. And her mother has come over for like 4th of July parties and all kinds of stuff. I mean, we just become pretty good friends with her. So when they get into it, like it makes it awkward for us and her and the other girl's parents then, because then like if it's 4th of July, we normally invite them over, but we have to make sure that the kids are getting along that week, like before we invite the parents over. It's just weird. I don't know.
That's crazy too that you have to do that. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Luann was like this, but with Kayla, I swear it seemed like she had a different best friend every few weeks.
Oh yeah.
And she had one or two, that was, her friend since, I don't know, kindergarten. But it was like each year, each grade she moved up, there was somebody different that was her best friend, and they become best friends almost overnight. And I don't know if you've ever told me or mentioned on here how old Luann is. And I guess it doesn't really matter, but my daughter, she'll be 20 on her next birthday, and I had to go exchange something yesterday at a store here in town, and I ran into one of Kayla's lifelong friends. She's pregnant now.
Oh,
and
boy, that made you stop in your tracks, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, wow. I had actually heard Kayla talk about her being pregnant once or twice, but I hadn't seen her. And to see her yesterday with like the full-on keg belly and the waddling around and just looking miserable, I felt bad for her, but then again, I kind of giggled under my breath. Thought it was kind of funny. I was like, man, I'm glad that's not my daughter.
All right, we'd have to change your name to 8 BVD toes. But but anyway, the only thing that really surprised me this weekend with Lou Jr.'s party that he had, because getting back to what I said, there's certain things you just expect, so you almost, like, no matter how bad it is, you almost can't even get mad, because when you plan to spend the night party, okay, something's gonna break, something's gonna spill. Like, there's just certain things What surprised me though, only 2 kids ended up spending the night. So it was just Lou Jr. and then he had two friends spend the night, and of course Luann here too. So just 4 kids total. The number of cups that got used was, I don't know how many cups we have, but they all got used somehow. It's like I had the thirstiest group of 3 kids ever, and every single time they got something to drink, they felt like they needed a new cup or something. It was the strangest ever. Like literally every, I'm not exaggerating, probably 20 cups.
Yeah, I figured you would have learned by now to only have as many cups available as there are kids in the house.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I have to hide them. I mean, I think we've done that before. Well, I know, like, when we've had parties before that aren't spend the night parties, like maybe the kids are just coming over for the afternoon or whatever, and we're doing doing hot dogs and hamburgers and a birthday cake and then sending them all home. We've done the thing where we'll just go and buy a big stack of Solo cups or whatever, and and put a marker on, the kid write their initials on the Solo cup or whatever. But with it only being 2 kids over, the thought of doing that never even crossed my mind until I woke up the next morning and looked at what used to be this, and I was like, I think the sink is under here somewhere as I'm moving cups out of the way. It was just the strangest.
It's amazing what you learn every day having young kids.
Yeah, so he turned 11. Luann, you asked about her age. She's 12 and a half, so she'll be 13 in June. Yeah, she'll be 13 in June, and she is already, I think me and you have talked about this before. I think it was just on the phone one time, but she's already now at the point where, like, this house is her least favorite place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
and
she can't stand
unless
it.
it's her room.
She can't stand it here. Like, it's like she'll come home, she'll get off the bus on Fridays, she'll come in, and like already know as soon as she comes in the door, she's getting ready to ask me, can she spend the night at so and so's house, right? And then, okay, what time you want us to pick you up on Saturday? At 3:00. Okay, I'll come get you at 3. And then we already know at 2:30, our phone's gonna ring, and it's gonna be, well, such and such is having people over tonight, so I'm just gonna go over there. So we pretty much don't see her, from Friday afternoons till Sunday evenings anymore. If she gets her way, she's already at that point now. She just wants to be gone all the time now.
Yeah, and unfortunately for you, it only gets worse.
Yeah. Now in the summertime, I think it'll be a little better because we don't have a pool. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before. We don't have a pool, but the neighborhood that we live in, some people know I live in a cul-de-sac because you can just tell from some of the videos. But in my neighborhood there, it's not a very big neighborhood. There's only like maybe 3 or 4 streets in this entire neighborhood. But 2 of the streets are cul-de-sacs. And the way the neighborhood is designed, the cul-de-sacs sort of back up to each other. So like if I go in my backyard and look over my back fence, there's a house there, but that house is also in another cul-de-sac. Well, the house right behind ours is my mother-in-law's house.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Which has advantages and disadvantages. I mean, we've had a built-in babysitter, forever. So like in that respect, it's worked out great. Like I don't think we have ever hired a babysitter for any reason. Now there was a time when, before they were school age, when they were 2, 3, 4 years old, we had a girl that would come over during the day. This was when I worked a regular job. Is YouTube a regular job, BBD?
For you, it is. I'm working on it.
But as far as like date night, or maybe we had a wedding to go to, whatever, anything that you couldn't take the kids to, we never had to hire a babysitter. Like we didn't even have to drive the kids anywhere. We literally packed a bag, handed it to them, and said, "Okay, we put there's a privacy fence that separates our backyard from my parents-in-law's backyard, and we just put a gate in." And we just hand them a bag, going over to Oma's. So, like, in that respect, it's worked out great. But there are some negatives. Now, I get along with my in-laws great, so it's not like the negative that some people might be thinking, like, oh, my God, I couldn't stand living next to my in-laws or whatever. That part's been great. We get a lot of great meals over there. But the only downside, like, there's been times where I've punished one of the kids for whatever reason, take their cell phone, whatever.
All right.
And they don't do this much anymore, but when they were younger especially, the first thing they would do, run to Oma's. And then I would either get a call from their grandma, or the next time I was over there, she would be like, you really shouldn't have. And as soon as I hear that, I just start tuning it out because I don't want to argue with them. But so that's been sort of the downside. It's like they know if they get in trouble. And you know how grandparents are, like a grandkid has never done anything wrong according to a grandparent, so it's just
it's
like,
a little different with my first set of in-laws, but I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, that was a unique set of grandparents there with them. They were Bible thumpers, hardcore. So Kayla didn't like going over there very much.
Christy, yeah, they're German. My mother-in-law. So Mrs. Lou's mother is German. She was born in Germany, yada, yada, yada. Mrs. Lou's father was Army, and he was stationed in Germany in the 70s. He met Mrs. Lou's mother, right? They got married. And then every time his enlistment came up, my father-in-law, he would re-enlist and request to remain in Germany, and of course the Army would approve it because most people would want to do a few years there and then come home. He chose to keep staying there. So they got married in Germany. My Mrs. Lou was born in Germany, so was her sister. So Mrs. Lou has dual citizenship.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, my mother-in-law is German. Mrs. Lou is half German. So that's sort of how that, and that's a common story. Like you see a lot of military men, especially, married to German women,
Korean,
South Korean women, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere where we've been for a really, really long time, you tend to see that. So yeah.
Is 52 too old? Is 52 with all kinds of bad health problems too old to enlist, Lou?
Not in the Space Force. They'll take anybody there, and once you get up there, the whole anti-gravity thing slows down your aging. So that's the exception. But you can't join the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard. You only could join Trump's new Space Force that he's building.
Space Force. Well, they turned me down when I was 18 anyway, so I don't guess they're going to take me at 52.
Did you have bone spurs or
heart murmur?
Oh, okay. So you actually had a legitimate condition. I got you.
Yeah, I was going to be a career Army man.
That's funny because when I was, I don't know, 19 or 20, I literally woke up one morning and said, I'm joining the Marines.
Oh, it was a spur of the moment decision.
Spur of the moment. And I went to a recruiting office that day, got the paperwork, filled it out, got my date for to take the ASVAB and that. Went and took the ASVAB. They sent me to Fort Jackson in Columbia for like 3 days to do the health. They put me up in a hotel or whatever, and I went to Fort Jackson and I did the whole health thing. Swore in. They swear you in right then and there. Swore me in. And then I had a date to leave for boot camp that was like 60 days away or something. Now, keep in mind, I did all of this without telling anyone, including my parents. And how did it happen? Somehow, I don't remember if my mother found out, and she ended up either calling the recruiter or showing up at the recruiter's office and basically telling them he's not going into the military.
Oh, that could have been all sorts of funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
and anyway, so she couldn't stop me. I mean, it wasn't a thing where I was like 17 and needed my parents' permission. I was either 18 or 19. But I did end up getting talked out of it. Maybe my mom or dad or whoever, or maybe I just came to my senses and realized wasn't the best decision for me. But so that's why I tell people all the time when I see them in the military, when I thank them, I say, you had the balls to do it. I didn't, because I actually considered it and started along the process, but I didn't have what it took to go through with it.
So you could have literally almost been the first real life private joker. And if I been there, I could have been Private Pile. We could have had our own little metal jacket going on.
And it's sort of an odd timing thing too, because this was in like 99 or 2000 when this was happening. I graduated high school in 96 at 18, and I was 19 or 20, I guess. So maybe 98 or 99 when that was happening. And of course, that was just 2 years before 9/11. So I would have for sure, because I would have been in for a couple of years at that point. So I'm sure no matter where I was stationed or whatever at that time, I probably would have been sent to the Middle East.
Which it's really a really good thing then this didn't work out for you, because you would have missed Tennessee's 98 championship, and that would have been a tragedy in itself.
I never would have been able to forgive myself.
I know. There would have been no General Valtard. I mean, see, your mom saved America.
Well, let's not go that far, but But BBD, if you can look at the screen, you'll be a happy camper, sir. So.
Well, thank you, sir. That's a little less ugly.
Yeah. BVD got mad at the picture I chose for him.
Now, Lou, let's not embellish the truth.
Well, not mad, but you did ask me to change it, so.
I did. I'm guilty.
I was trying to figure out a way, I wanted to have you up there, but and then like it was literally, and I think I told you this too. It was literally the first day you were coming on the show, and I had already started the show, so the music was playing with the starting soon graphic on the screen or whatever, and I was like, shoot, I at least need a picture. So I literally just went to YouTube, went to your channel, clicked on the first like random video, and then I just scrubbed through the video till I found a spot in the video where I could see your face clearly, paused it, did a screenshot, cropped it down, and plopped it on the screen. Like it was literally like a 60-second process. So I'm not surprised that it ended up being like a picture that you didn't really like or whatever, because I just did it as quick as I could. So, but I will agree with you. This is a better one here. Now, is this? I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I don't know when this picture was taken that you sent me, but I'm gonna say this is your Glamour Shots picture from 2018.
You're really close. Glamour Shots didn't take me. I went there and I was going to do the whole Glamour Shots thing, but they told me that I couldn't do it because it would make everybody else jealous and they would lose business, and they can't do that. So, I saved a lot of women and men from embarrassment by not doing the Glamour. Lou, I did the exact same thing you did. I don't even remember which video it was, but I went to one of my more recent videos and just kind of paused it and scrubbed through it, like you said, until there wasn't a shot of me sitting there with my mouth wide open or something stupid like that.
Now, you said your daughter is 20 or about to turn 20, so Glamour Shots was like, that was before her time, wasn't it? Or is there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I remember being like, I think I was in high school, which was over 20 years ago now, when like we had one here in the mall, and it used to be hilarious to walk. Like even then we were clowning it, the Glamour Shots, but you'd walk past there and these girls in there with their hair all poofed up and just like
it was actually a genius idea because
people fell for it, no doubt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was just like that around here. We didn't have one in Greenville. I don't think we had one in the neighboring city where everybody here has to go if you want to do anything. And at the time it came out, I lived in Raleigh anyway, but I don't know if it was like this where you live, but Glamour Shots was full of middle-aged, fat, ugly women. And not that there's a thing in the world wrong with middle-aged, fat, ugly women, because I married one. But it was, whoever came up with that idea was genius, and they're probably kicked back on their own island right now, retired somewhere.
How big of a town do you live in?
Excuse me.
Is it big town, small town? Is it what?
Oh, it's definitely small town. It's okay. Our whole county, I think, only has 60 or 70,000 people.
Is there a Walmart?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, so it's not that small. Okay, so there is a Walmart. Is there a Target?
No, no Target.
That's sort of how if I've never been somewhere and I'm wondering, like, okay, what sort of place am I getting into here? Those are the questions I ask. How far is the nearest Walmart? Is there a Target? Those kinds of things. That tends to tell me, what I need to know. So if you want to go, is there a mall? Well, malls. BVD, will malls be around in 20 years? The typical shopping mall, the enclosed, not these new sort of outdoor malls they're calling them, which are really just shopping centers, but the sort of malls that sort of boomed in the 80s, your typical like shopping mall. Do you think they'll be around in 20 years?
That's a good question. I've never really thought about that because we don't have one of those here. Uh, Probably, they'll definitely be a lot more fewer and far between than they are right now.
Yeah.
But that's I never was much of a mall person when my teenage years were spent in Columbus, Ohio, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And in those two towns, you had multiple malls, multiple shopping centers, all that stuff, pretty much anything you wanted to do almost within definitely within walking distance in Columbus, but not so much in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But here, you ask how big this town is. I think in our actual city limits, we have maybe, oh God, 20, 25,000 people. And in order to go anywhere like that, you have to go to Johnson City, which is half an hour from here, or Morristown, which is half an hour in the other direction. So I mean, there's things to do here, but it's like the restaurant selection sucks. The shopping center, there's literally one decent shopping center here, and there's nothing for the kids to do here. So back in the day, they used to cruise. Can't cruise now. Cruising's illegal.
Yeah.
And they literally they give the kids in this town nothing to do, and then they wonder why kids get in trouble. I mean, so I don't know.
Kill a Mime says you're a geographical oddity. Do you know what that means?
I am a geographical oddity.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or you reside well, what he said is you're 2 weeks from everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you know what that's referencing?
I don't, but I think I may have an idea. Explain it to me.
Oh brother, where art thou?
Okay.
You've seen that, right?
I've seen it actually once or twice a long time ago.
You need to see it about 15 more times, but he goes into the gas station to get directions and to buy some Dapper Dan, which they end up being sold out of. But anyway, he's asking the guy, how far is it to this place? How far is it to that place? How far is it to that place? And the answer to the answer is the same every single time. I forget what he says now. Half an hour, whatever he says. And George Clooney looks at him and goes, "Well, this place is a geographical oddity. It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from everywhere."
It is a great movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
It was one of those movies that was a little too out there for me when it first came out. I probably love it now.
Yeah, give it another shot. Logan Jackson, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, "Lou, I have something I want to say. I will call you tomorrow." I can't wait to hear it, Logan. Thank you for the super chat. And I didn't say anything about this, but you're today's lucky winner, Logan. Email Uncle Lou at crazyunclelou@gmail.com. and you will become the proud new owner of whatever Uncle Lou t-shirt you choose. So I decided before the show started, whoever gave the first super chat would give something away. That's you, sir. Yeah. So, Logan, I hope you're still listening. Email me, crazyunclelou@gmail.com, crazyunclelou@gmail.com. And let me make a public service announcement real quick, too. Almost all of the T-shirts from December are on the way, or you already got it. There might be one or two of you who haven't got it yet. If you're one of those people that haven't got your T-shirt from, this is for the Patreon people. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, but it's on the way. And then we're starting over this year, so everybody gets another shirt this year. I'll have to divvy it up over the 12-month period, starting with the people who have been around on there the longest. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up real quick while we were talking about T-shirts. But Logan, email me, crazyunclelou@gmail.com, and let me know what shirts you want, size, address, that kind of thing. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. It really, really means a lot. All right, BVD, you want to talk some sports or?
I
don't, but we're gonna do it anyway. So I don't even know why.
Why don't we leave that up to the people in the chats? Because I'm like you, I talk enough sports.
Yeah, well, let's just do this. I'm gonna put we're gonna talk about the national championship game. 5-minute limit. Okay, because I know me and you both do our own separate live shows and upload videos, and we've both probably spent hours, talking about college football playoffs and the national championship over the last couple of weeks. So, but 5 minutes we'll spend here. I'll start. I took Clemson plus 5.5. I have no clue who's going to win this game. It does look like LSU's offense is unstoppable. It 100% looks that way to me. I don't see how anybody's going to stop it. But I do think Clemson can I think Clemson can keep up with them points wise. I truly believe that, and I think Clemson has the better running game. I like ETN and Clemson's offensive line when it comes to run blocking better than I do Clyde Edwards-Helaire and LSU's offensive line when it comes to run blocking. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, to me, BVD, is a great running back, and LSU fans have gotten really mad at me over the last couple of weeks. I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in the top group of running backs in college football this year. I know he had 1,300 yards or whatever it did. I think he's a huge beneficiary of their passing game. You cannot put 6, 7, 8 people in the box against LSU. You just can't. Compare that to Georgia. 90% of the plays we run on offense are against 8-man boxes because no one respects our passing game for obvious reasons. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a great running back. I think he'll get a shot in the NFL one day. I don't think he's DeAndre Swift or Travis Etienne or Jonathan Taylor or Chuba Hubbard even. I think he's right after that. I think he's really, really good. I just don't think he's in the top tier. And so I think Clemson can have some longer scoring drives. LSU scoring drives usually are pretty quick. They strike quick. I think Clemson can sort of try to slow it down a little bit with the ground game in ETN. Of course, they can score quick too with Trevor Lawrence and Higgins and Ross and all that. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I'm hoping for a good game. More than anything else, I'm just hoping for a good game, because I want to see a good game. And because it was 5.5 points, I decided to go with the underdog. LSU obviously could win this game. I'm not saying LSU can't win this game. I'm just saying give me Clemson in the 5.5. Maybe LSU wins 38-35 or something. I would still win there with Clemson plus 5.5. It's just hard for me to. It would be hard for me to give any team 5.5, knowing Clemson has won 29 games in a row. So. That's sort of why I went the way I went. All right, that was about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. Now you got a couple of minutes. BVD, let us know what you think, and then we're moving on from the title game.
You actually answered a question I was going to ask about Helaire, and the question was in regards to you. I thought that I had heard you say a week or two ago that he wasn't that good, wasn't one of the top running backs in the country, and then in your preview and prediction video Saturday, you mentioned, I think you said he was like maybe one of the top 5 or 6. I don't know. You made mention that he was one of the best running backs in the country, and it kind of threw me for a loop. So you cleared that up for me. So thank you for that. I tend to agree with you about most of the things you said. That the only thing, and I've been saying this for weeks now, the thing that would concern me if I was an LSU fan in this game is the fact that they have not had a bad game yet this year. And maybe I'm overthinking that. I don't know. Clemson, of course, everybody knows about the 6-foot game against North Carolina. North Carolina gets 6 feet. We're not even talking about this game today. But they did. And it doesn't matter how many points they won by. They won. But that was their bad game. They survived it. And ever since then, they've been killing people. So, as an LSU fan, and there's a lot of very overconfident, well, I don't know if overconfident, there's a lot of extremely confident LSU fans out there that just, they just know they're going to roll in there tonight and run away with this thing. And it's not even going to be close. They've already got their trophy. They've already got the championship gear ordered, blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's much of a chance at all of that happening. I ultimately chose LSU. They've been my pick for weeks. I think they will be able to avoid that bad game tonight, mainly because it's in New Orleans. I don't know how much of a home field advantage, if at all. People just assume it'll be a a predominantly LSU crowd because it's in New Orleans. I don't know. I'm curious what you think about that, but I'm going with LSU. Uh, I just think they've got too much offense, even though Clemson definitely has a great defense. Sorry, I got totally distracted there. I think somebody just pulled up in my driveway, and that's highly unusual for 8:45 in the morning. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm going with LSU. I think it'll be like a 10-point game, 7 to 10 point game.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna watch it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actually going to stream it.
Okay.
Not, I'm going to stream, but it's not.
Right.
I'm not going to do no play-by-play or none of that crap.
Right.
Just
Yeah. Well, if you put Clemson versus LSU in the title, be prepared for a bunch of people to show up and complain that you're not showing the game.
I know. I'm already used
I
to
love
that.
That's my favorite part. I love that. All right. NFL playoffs. We haven't talked at all about the NFL playoffs. They've been going on for a few weeks. We've had the wild card round, and this weekend was the divisional round. So we're down to the final four teams. You're more of an NFL guy than I am, BVD. But the Chiefs Texans game, unbelievable.
That was crazy.
Unbelievable. A lot of Falcons jokes made yesterday. It was that kind of thing. I mean, you guys remember the Super Bowl? The Falcons were up. What was it, 28-3? BVD. The Falcons were up and lost.
25-point lead. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Texans had a 24-point lead yesterday on the Chiefs, and the Chiefs scored like 50 unanswered points or something. I mean, it was just crazy. But did you watch
I got to
that
step
one?
away for 2 seconds,
Okay.
Lou. Keep
All right.
talking.
I can
Keep
handle it.
talking.
I can handle it. It
I
was
got to
crazy.
go check
I
and
don't
see
know
what's
if,
going on.
Okay, I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys in the chat watched any of those playoff games yesterday, but that Chiefs-Texan game was unbelievable. A lot of people probably turned that Chiefs-Texans game off in the second quarter. I don't know, but it ended up being a great game. Chiefs come back and win it. So we're down to the final four teams now. You got the Chiefs coming up versus the Titans. Titans are sort of the Cinderella story of the playoffs this year. They beat the New England Patriots in round one.
Okay, I'm
So
back.
that's like, that would be like beating Alabama or Clemson. No one expected the Titans to win that game. They beat New England. Then this week, they play what most people considered to be one of, if not the best teams in the NFL. They had the best record, if I'm not mistaken, at 14-2.
They did.
The Ravens, and that was never really a game. Lamar Jackson had a pretty bad game. He still put up some yards. He still ran the ball. I think he had some turnovers. Derrick Henry. Where has Derrick Henry been the last couple of years? That this guy is no one can stop him. He's had 180 yards or more in the last 3 games in a row.
He's fast.
It's unbelievable to watch him. I mean, he is just. We don't see dominant running backs in the NFL that often anymore. It's a passing league. You'll have running backs come in. Todd Gurley clearly is great. Saquon Barkley is great. Nick Chubb's off to a good start or whatever. But you rarely see a running back just dominate a game anymore. And Derrick Henry, there's just nobody has any answers for this guy. And you're more of an NFL guy than I am, like I said, BVD. This isn't the same Derrick Henry we've seen. I know he won the Heisman Trophy, and a lot of people and Alabama fans are going to get mad because they do every time. A lot of people think Derrick Henry's the worst Heisman winner in the last 20 or 30 years. I hear that all the time. But the Derrick Henry I'm watching right now is unbelievable. But he hasn't done that. How long has he been in the NFL? Is this his 3rd year now? 4th year? Something like that?
It's at least his 3rd year because
Yeah.
I know he was part of the Tennessee team, I think, that beat Kansas City in the playoffs 3 years ago in 2017.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. I watch the NFL every week, but I'm not glued to my TV like I am with college football. And the Titans are on, obviously, every week here. And I'm not a Titans fan. I can't stand them. So generally I watch whatever the other game is, or I watch the NFL Red Zone, or I go out and mow the grass or something. But
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. Where this guy came from here recently, I don't know. And I had no idea he was that fast. He doesn't look like he's running very fast, but
Yeah.
you look up and he's pulling away.
Yeah. He's had an amazing season, and
he is.
Especially like I said, I'm not trying to say he was terrible the last couple of years or whatever, but
right.
He was nothing. I mean, he was nothing like what he is now. I mean, it's just he's the first running back in NFL history to have 180 yards or more in 3 straight games. I mean, and to do that in today's football, I mean, listen, it's hard for us as college fans to really understand, because in college, you look at people like Swift, ETN, all those great running backs we named, they're getting 5, 6, 7, 8 yards per carry average on the season. In the NFL, 3.5 yards per carry is considered pretty good. Like, it is extremely hard to run the ball in the NFL. Extremely hard. To see what Derrick Henry is doing is unbelievable. I mean, it's just, and I'm no Alabama fan or Derrick Henry fan, but Jesus, and I still think he's one of the most undeserving Heisman winners, and that's not going to change my mind. But
I thought that was, I thought you were saying that just because that's what other people were saying.
No, I agree. I don't think he was. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at some other players that year, but I don't know. Maybe just nobody else did anything that year or whatever. But I don't think he should have won the award that year.
I think he might have been one of those guys that was kind of anointed the Heisman before the season started, and they just kind of stuck with him because nobody else challenged him. Maybe I don't remember. It has been a few days since then.
Yeah. Waikiki, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, what time is the stream starting tonight? The game starts, I think, at 8. Is that right, BBD?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I'll start the stream. I'm going to try to start the stream around 7:30. I'm streaming on the Patreon page, not YouTube. So if you're not on the Patreon page and you want to watch something, go to BBD's channel tonight and watch his. I'm going to stream on the Patreon page. But anyway, so I'm going to try to start at about 7:30. But there's a reason I do my nighttime shows at 10 o'clock, and that reason is I have young kids and all that, and it's a school night, and so we have dinner and homework and blah, blah, blah. So I've already talked to all of them. They know I have to be out here by 8. The point is I'm going to try to start the stream at 7:30, but it might be 7:45 or 7:50, but just, the routine. The link will be posted on the Patreon page, Waikiki, and just click the link and it'll take you over there.
How do those streams do for you? Are they as popular or as crowded as your other ones, or?
No, because it's only the Patreon. It's only for,
right.
Yeah, it's I stream it on YouTube, but I set the video to unlisted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just post the link on my Patreon page, so only the
Gotcha.
Patreon members have access to the link. So I don't know, 50, 60 people sometimes, something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Brian, the good thing is doing it that way. Clearly, when you live stream, you want to, a million people watching would be great. But I do the Patreon streams because I know that will limit the number of people in there, and I'm able to communicate,
interact with them.
Right. You get to a certain point, I can't even read the chat at all on some of the live streams I do. It moves so fast. If I try to read the chat plus whatever I'm happen to be doing on the live show, it's just impossible. So with the Patreon streams, that automatically limits the number, and it makes it easier for me to interact with the people in the comment section. So that's why I do it that way. I do some streams on YouTube too, about half and half. About half of them I do on Patreon, half of them I do on YouTube. But
do you do any play-by-play at all, or do you just kind of?
No. I just react. I mean, every once in a while I'll say, I might happen to mention the down and distance and stuff,
right.
But I'm not sitting there. It's not my goal to do play-by-play. I pretty much watch the play, and then I'll look at the chat section and see, oh my God, great, Fromm threw it 30 yards over his head again, that kind of thing.
This is the nervous hospital, Billy Cole. What are you talking about?
Brian Biak, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, are you ready to hold a Tiger? Well, Tiger's winning either way, and either way, I'm not holding one.
Not going to be grabbing a Tiger by the tail, huh?
No. I win either way here. There will be a comment on the comments video coming. Probably not this week, but next week. And it'll be all about the national title game. So one lucky fan base is going to get absolutely destroyed in my comment on the comments video coming up next week. This week, of course, I'm doing the UNCLELOU Awards BVD, which very popular here on the channel. People love this award show. It's, people complain about the Oscars and this. This ain't the Oscars. This is the UNCLELOU Awards. This is amazing. We have awards like Most Embarrassing Loss. Any idea who might be winning that award this year, BVD?
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that it might be someone wearing orange.
It could be. It's very possible. Yeah. So most embarrassing loss, most disappointing team, most underachieving team, worst.
We
Power
can't
5
win them
coach.
all.
No, nobody can win. No, well, there might be a few years where Tennessee was nominated for them all.
Yeah, and there is that Coral Gables team that could be a nominee for most of those.
I would be surprised if they didn't show up somewhere in the UNCLELOU Awards, Texas, Miami. I mean, there's lots of possibilities there. So
I'd bet money on that.
Yeah, so I'll be doing that. Probably the last couple of days of this week. Tomorrow, I'm sure I'll do like a national championship wrap-up video or something like that. And then next week, I'm going to do that comment on the comments, which is great because I'm going to be able to go back to all these videos I made about the national title game where people are in there saying such and such team's going to win by 40. And I'm just going to pick whoever loses and highlight all those people's comments for the comment on the comments video. It should be amazing.
Maybe one of these years I'll consider doing something like that, but I'm not the YouTube sensation that Uncle Lou is anymore. My sensationalism lasted about 15 minutes back in the day. Thank you, Lane Kiffin.
What was it? You peed on a shirt or something, right?
This is actually, I found this out yesterday. I didn't realize it. Some people were posting it on Twitter. The 10-year anniversary of that video. Yeah.
Wow. 10 years.
Pissed on it and burn it. And it just went crazy.
Yeah.
Still don't understand why
I've seen that video. I've seen that video, but it's been a while. Isn't there snow on the ground too or something?
Yeah, there's a little bit of snow on the porch.
I remember it now. Yeah. And you throw the Lane Kiffin shirt down and piss on it.
And there's my next door neighbor's daughter's bicycle is laying on the ground right there, and there's a tea bottle empty laying beside it. So everybody just assumed that was an empty liquor bottle and my daughter's bicycle. So the comments for that one was great.
Two-part question. Was that video monetized, and then is it still?
No.
Is it still? Okay.
It wasn't then. It is now.
Oh, it is now. I'm surprised.
I'm pretty sure it is now. I have to go look. I know I at least tried to monetize it, but it doesn't get views much anymore.
It seems
Unlike the count.
It seems like that would fall into the not suitable for most advertisers category. You ever get that flag? You ever get that flag from YouTube?
All the time.
Yeah.
What
makes me mad?
I don't know if you.
I appeal it. And I win every single time, but it takes YouTube about 24 to 48 hours to process the appeal. And because of the types of videos me and you do, BVD, most of our videos don't have any replay value, Like, it doesn't do a whole lot of... Like, there's not a lot of people watching Uncle Lou videos from 2 years ago because why would you care what I thought about Georgia versus South Carolina in 2016 or whatever,
Right.
And so by the time they turn monetization on, almost everybody who is gonna watch the video has already seen it, and so it's irritating.
Yeah, I've got that problem with a lot of my videos.
Yeah.
Because as you know, of course you may not know this, I use some colorful language on my channel.
Yes, you do. Which is your prerogative. Bruce H.L., thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, "Hello, Newman." Oh, man, people want to know what I think about Jamie Newman so bad they can't stand it, BVD. I must have 100 comments, emails, Twitter messages, DMs, I think the Mormons came and knocked on my door yesterday and asked me what I thought about Jamie Newman. It's just been ridiculous at this point. So I will make a Jamie Newman video. In fact, I may do that this afternoon. I've got some errands I got to run this morning. Well, I woke up yesterday and one of my tires was flat on the car. Not flat, but I could tell it was low. And I got in the car and it's got a gauge inside the car. It'll tell me how much air pressure is in each tire or whatever, so it'll warn you if it gets too low. And I'm supposed to have between 30 and 32 pounds of pressure in each tire. I got in the car yesterday morning and my back left tire had 7. Now, sometimes
that's not good.
No, sometimes when it gets cold, it'll drop down to 27 or 28 or something, and I have a compressor here, and I just hook the compressor up to it and bump it back up to where it needs to be or whatever, but and it's fine. But so I did that yesterday. It was 7 pounds of pressure in there, so I pumped it back up to 32, checked it like an hour later, it was still at 32. I was like, okay, well, that was really weird. I don't know what happened. So anyway, get up this morning, go outside, look at the car, and I can tell, I didn't get in to see, but I can tell by looking at it, it's back down to 5, 6, or 7 again or something like that. So I made an appointment at the tire place for 10 o'clock this morning.
Made an appointment at a tire place?
Yeah, I'm not trying to go up there and sit for 2 hours. I'm way too busy and important for that. So I told him who I was.
Wow.
Yeah, told him who I was. Said, look, I'm coming in at 10. I don't want to be bothered or harassed. I just want to get my tire looked at because I'm hoping they can just patch it, because that's like a 5-minute process. It doesn't take them long. Mrs. Lou had to have that done to her car a year or so ago. I'm hoping it can be patched, but it depends where the hole is. If it's anywhere near the rim or whatever, they can't patch it or whatever. I don't know. I'm hoping they can
Might
just
be
patch
that neighbor of yours.
Oh God, don't get
You
me
haven't
started.
been pissing her off, have you?
Well, yeah, clearly. I'm still out here, aren't I? So that by itself makes her mad. But I'm hoping they can just patch it. I don't have to buy a new tire, because the thing is, you're really not supposed to just buy one tire. And there's nothing wrong with any of the tires on there, except now the one's got the leak. So if it can't be patched and I've got to replace it, then that means I've really got to replace 2, because you're not supposed to put a new tire on just one side or whatever. I don't know. So it's either going to cost me about $20 when I go up there today, or about $400. I won't know till I get there. So
oddly enough, since
keep the super chats rolling in.
Since you mentioned tires, and I don't know why it made me think of this, but I have a ton of pet peeves, probably way too many for a man my age. But one of my pet peeves, I don't even know if you've noticed this or not, but a lot of people don't even have hubcaps on their cars anymore. Some of the young people might not even know what the hell a hubcap is. But if you ever notice, like if somebody has to get mismatched hubcaps, they'll make sure they match on the front and they match on the back. So I guess in their mind they're thinking, well, they have to be matched up front and back because that makes the balance proper on it. I think that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Why wouldn't you put the same 2 hubcaps on one side of the car? I don't know about you, but I can't look at both sides of the car at one time. Can you?
No.
That's the kind of critical life decisions I face on a daily basis, Lou.
Logan Jackson, thank you for the super chat. He says, I don't know if I'm a potato or what, but I can't figure out for the life of me how to get to the live chat on the Patreon streams. If once you click the link on the Patreon page, it takes you to YouTube. The stream is on YouTube. It's just the link that's posted on Patreon, Logan. So if you go to the Patreon page tonight around 7:30 or 7:45, depending on what time I can get out here, I make a post that says, LSU versus Clemson Patreon stream, and then there'll be a link. You just click that link. Sometimes you have to copy or paste it depending on whether you're using a phone or a computer or what kind of phone you're using. But anyway, that link that's in there is a YouTube link. So once you click that YouTube link, it's going to take you to YouTube, and then it's just like this stream at that point. The only difference between this stream and the stream tonight is that the stream tonight will be marked as unlisted. So when people just go to my channel, the stream does not show up for people to click on. The only way to get to it is through the link that I post on the Patreon page. But as far as getting to the chat on the Patreon streams, it's just like getting to the chat on this stream with one extra step. That one extra step being you have to go to the Patreon page first where the link is posted. And then you just click the link, takes you to YouTube, and it worked the same way. So I hope that helps and makes sense. Tim Mathis, thank you for the super chat. Here's a start on your lasting YouTube career, BVD.
Yeah, I saw that. That was beautiful. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Tim Mathis is good people.
He is.
By the way. Breaking news too. BVD. I think I told you about this, but of course, we're always looking for sponsors here on the show. If you want to sponsor the show, you can email me crazyunclelou@gmail.com. But we do have a sponsor coming up, and they are from. Tell them,
Dun,
BVD.
Dun dun dun.
Knoxville, Tennessee. That's right. Nobody loves Uncle Lou like Tennessee fans do. Not even Georgia fans. You know what's funny?
I can tell you who it's not. I bet it's not a radio station.
Or
a bookstore.
Here's what is hilarious to me. The two biggest fan bases that like Uncle Lou, Georgia, Tennessee. The two biggest fan bases that hate and can't stand Uncle Lou, wish I would disappear forever, never to be heard from again, Georgia, Tennessee. Isn't that strange? There is not a Georgia or a Tennessee fan that is indifferent about Uncle Lou. They either really, really like me and appreciate and understand what I do, or they cannot stand me at all and wouldn't even spit on me if I was on fire.
Yeah, that and one Notre Dame fan, but yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, now if you're just talking about like an individual that hates me the most, you may be on to something, but just in terms of pure numbers, maybe you don't, not to the extent I have done it, but like there has to have been Tennessee fans over the years that have left the same, this guy's an embarrassment to Tennessee.
Oh.
This guy don't represent Tennessee fans. Like you actually think that you do or something. But surely you've gotten some of those types of comments over the years.
Absolutely. The first couple years I started doing this, and especially after that was the first year or so, the Kiffin video became pretty popular on here. And a lot of people you just mentioned it, they would say, oh, this guy is, he's the typical, he represents the Tennessee fan base. And when some Tennessee fans would see that, I would go nuts, man. And All Nation, which is it's a message board forum I haven't been over there in years. That just about entire website couldn't stand me back then. I mean, there was posts almost daily about what a piece of crap I am. And I can't believe people think this guy is the representation of our fan base, blah, blah. And they were just proving the point, kind of.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it was tough to take at first to see how can they hate me, man? I'm the biggest Tennessee fan in the world.
Look at this. Look at this guy. This out they're typing right there. Look at this guy. Probably didn't even go to Tennessee.
Yeah. Never been to a football game in his life.
If the only people at Tennessee games every single week, and this is true of any school, were graduates, it'd be about 20,000 people at every game, if that.
Probably not even that.
What if every time you went to buy a Tennessee hat, you had to show your degree? Like, this is just ridiculous. Like, the idea. Oh, look at it. Look at this guy. Look at him. Didn't even go to Georgia.
You're probably a lot like me in this sense. You spent more money on Georgia stuff over the years that you could have paid probably several tuitions at UGA.
Now, if I didn't go to Georgia, hold on, I got to put this on full screen real quick, make sure people can get this in all their glory. But if I didn't go to Georgia, then maybe somebody wants to explain this to me.
Let's see. Yeah, There you go. Clearly, you've been to Georgia.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, people.
What's wrong with people?
Upon recommendation of the faculty and the approval of the Board of Trustees of the holders of 12 SEC, which is more than that now, by the way, titles, by virtue of the authority granted to them, hereby bestow upon Uncle Lou for completing the required viewing, cheering, trash talking, and armchair quarterback time to be considered an expert, and is thereby presented with this doctorate of Georgia Bulldogs football and is entitled to all the rights and privileges thereunto. Signed by Greg McGarity and none other than Kirby Smart. So maybe someone can explain that. I don't know. The chances aren't very high, though. But look at him.
Tennessee hasn't mailed mine yet. I don't understand what they're waiting on.
Probably never played football a day in his life.
I'm still waiting on mine, Uncle Lou.
Yeah. I love when they do the, and this happens everywhere, not just on YouTube, but Facebook, Twitter, you get this all the time too. You say something negative or critical, like in my case, usually it's Jake Fromm. Unless you can play, unless you think you'll be a better SEC quarterback than Jake Fromm, I suggest you just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell him, yeah. Listen, I've never directed a movie either, but I've seen some shitty ones. You know,
and you've critiqued a few too. I presume.
Do I really have to direct a movie to watch one and know if it's good or not? I mean, what's you can't vote unless you've been a politician. Oh, you don't like Trump? I bet you've never been president of the United States. Like the standard for being a good SEC quarterback is better. Like, as long as you're better than Uncle Lou, that's all. Like, oh, you think you're better than Jake Fromm? No, I don't think I'm better than Jake Fromm. But I'm not on scholarship to play quarterback. Like, the benchmark for what's good is not better than Uncle Lou. Like, you need to have higher expectations, buddy.
Let me ask you, Uncle Lou, do you think you could be a long snapper in college?
No.
I want you to direct a personal message sometime to Billy Cole II about the importance of long snapping in football. He apparently doesn't get it.
Well, it is important. Here's the thing. Maybe I could with enough practice. I mean, I've never long snapped before. I'd have to learn how to do it. But here's the thing. People talk about all these rules they have to protect quarterbacks and now wide receivers too.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like what they have to protect the long snapper. I mean, you can't line up over the top of him. You pretty much can't touch him or look at him, or it's a penalty. So
basically you just can't jump on him. That's really it.
You can't even line up in front of him.
You sure about that one?
I'm positive about it.
Wow.
You can't cover up. You can't cover up the long. You can't. That's why you ever notice? Like, obviously take a punt for example. You have the gunners on the outside, right? Those are wide receivers or DBs, right? They're the first ones down, clearly. Who's next every single time? The snapper.
Well, I mean,
the long snapper.
My long snapper is the first one down the field all the time, and maybe that's why now. I just thought it was because he's such a great, awesome, and unbelievable athlete.
No, it's because you're not allowed to line up over the top of him, so he doesn't have anybody to block. So he snaps the ball and takes off running. That's it. So I might could actually, now that I think about it. So
it's pretty fair that those rules are like that. He has to have his head down. He's looking through his legs. You know.
Right, not fair.
Joking aside, I tried it, and of course my health is as such now that I probably couldn't long snap a wadded up paper cup from my butthole to the trash can 5 feet away. But there's definitely a reason that's a specialty position.
That's a lot.
And I've really only brought that up because Billy Cole's my buddy.
Alex, thank you for the super chat, sir. He's an LSU fan. He says, woo! Work is a joke today. Let's go. It would suck to work today, being an LSU or Clemson fan. But if I was going to call in dead, I'd rather it be tomorrow. Like, I would work today, I think. if I had like if I'd love to take 2 or 3 days off, go to the game, all that kind of thing, but
What
I would rather
let's
be off
face
tomorrow.
If today you're working during the LSU Clemson game, you're most likely a dishwasher or a hotel clerk of some sort, a convenience store clerk. So
Yeah.
I mean, it would suck, I guess, to work
No, I mean
on
during the
this
day
day.
though. I don't think he's.
Yeah,
I get the impression he's working now.
that's what I thought when I
which
saw that.
means he's not working. I guess not working tonight, probably 9 to 5 or so. I would, if I could take one of the 2 days off though. Like let's say if you have a 9 to 5, I think because the game's not till 8, so you'd love to be off all day today, like a regular Saturday college football or something. But if you had to choose, you'd take tomorrow off, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I got a question for you. Now, of course, you work every Georgia game day now. You're always at work. But back when you were, quote unquote, actually working a meaningful job, and I only say that because everybody says that YouTube is not a meaningful job and not something you can earn a living at, which is horseshit. Did you work during Georgia games? Because it was a rule of mine, a personal rule of mine. I have worked one time in my life during a Tennessee game, and that's the honest to God's truth.
Yeah.
I would not work when Tennessee was playing.
The last job I had, I worked almost every weekend, including Saturdays. Now, I would save up my It was a good job with good benefits and plenty of time off and that kind of thing. So I would save up enough. It was kind of weird. We had they worked on a point system, and so like everything you did, quote unquote, wrong was either you got a half a point or a point or whatever. And as long as you didn't get to like 5 or 6 points, there was really nothing they could do to you. So like calling in and telling them you're not coming in today, that was like a point or something. So I wasn't above doing that. I specifically remember doing that for the SEC championship game in 2012. I did not go to work that day. I stayed home all that day. And it was a thing where I called in because it was hard to get time off that time of year. So it wasn't even like you could have requested that day off or whatever. You just had to call in if you weren't going to go in. But it wasn't a big deal unless you had called in a bunch of other times. As long as you weren't up to that 6 point, whatever. I don't remember the number of points. But anyway, so I would call. But yeah, I did work weekends at that job. But generally, well, I'm not going to go through every single job I ever had. But about half the jobs I had required you to work all or some weekends, and the other half of the jobs I had were Monday through Friday jobs.
Yeah.
So.
Sound like you might sort of been like me. I had quite a few jobs over my work history.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't even, if I sat down with a pen and paper for an hour, I probably couldn't list them all.
I don't think I had that many. I was in the cell phone business for a long time for like 3 or 4 different companies because of buyouts or one company acquiring another or whatever.
Right.
Or I chose to change a time or two, but I did that. I probably spent 15 years in the cell phone business altogether.
Would you consider that to be your career when you were working?
Well, that's the job I had that I made the most money because it was those jobs were salary plus commission.
Mm-hmm.
So the harder you worked or the better you were at what you did, the more money you made. And I did pretty well. But and then I sold insurance for a while. I hated it.
Really?
Man, I hated it. I hated it. I did not like it at all.
I don't think I can remember or think of one person I've ever met or known in my life that said, you know what, I sell insurance for a living and I love this job. Now, I know you can make some dang good money doing it, but I don't think you hear kids in the 3rd and 4th grade either say they want to grow up and be an insurance salesman.
I worked. I'm not going to give out any specifics, but I worked for an agency that contracted with like hundreds of insurance companies. And anyway, I think if you get to the point where like you have your own office, like John Smith's State Farm office or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
John Smith is probably pretty happy.
Oh yeah.
But below that, it was commission only, and so you didn't work, you didn't get paid. You didn't sell anything, you didn't get paid. So now the only good thing about that is, YouTube is sort of the same way. So it kind of, now this was a long time ago, but this was like, I don't know, what was this, 2010 and 11, so a long time ago. But it kind of prepared me, I guess, in a way, if you look at it like that, because YouTube's the same way. I mean, Google's not just mailing me, whatever amount of money a month. Here you go. Thanks for uploading. Here's your $1,000 this month or whatever. No.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
You don't work. You don't upload videos. You don't make video. Whatever. Yeah. You're just not getting paid. So it sort of prepared me for that. And then I owned my own business for a while. That was okay. The money was good, but I didn't really like the work. And
what kind of business can you say? Or I think I know what it was, but
the same thing Carter used to do.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So it was working. I worked for myself, but I worked through real estate companies and banks. Basically, if a house would get foreclosed on, or maybe you had a landlord that was renting houses out, and if for whatever reason the house became vacant, whether that was through foreclosure or eviction, or a tenant just decided his lease was up and he was moving, whatever the case, you'd have an empty house. Whoever owned that house would want certain things done to it before the new people came in, and that's where I came in. But I was sort of like a middleman. I didn't do a lot of the work myself. I would basically submit bids to the banks or real estate companies or whatever the case may be, saying, okay, this is what you wanted done, this is what I'll charge you to do it. And so let's say it was $5,000, whatever, I'm just making up a number. Well, I then would contract that work out, for as little as possible. And I made what was left over. That's how that worked.
I would imagine where you live, that could be a very lucrative business.
Yeah, it was okay for a while, but it got that line of work became very competitive after the housing crash in 2008 and 2009, because there were so many foreclosures. I don't know how old a lot of you guys are that are watching, but BBD, you remember the housing crisis from 2008. There were so many foreclosures, banks couldn't keep up, and I'm not going to get into the process of what happens when a house is foreclosed on, but eventually the people get kicked out, and 9 times out of 10 they leave everything behind. They just, because they don't believe, they don't plan or prepare for whatever reason. So the marshal shows up at their door to evict them. That's it. You're gone. That's it. If you haven't got your stuff out by then, you're not getting it, because the bank hires a company like the one I had to do what's called a trash out. And that is, show up at this house on this day, and everything that's there, take it to the dump. Everything.
You were allowed to keep stuff, weren't you?
No.
Really?
No.
That's not fair, Lou.
Yeah, and I would never do anything that was not fair. But it was amazing what people would leave behind, because they just, they didn't want to believe it was really going to happen a lot of times. And one of the reasons I think I stopped doing it is because sometimes you show up and the people are just legitimately, you almost want to kick the people out. But, you show up at a house with a single mom with 3 kids, and
oh man,
they're crying in the front yard, and You know, there's
I
nothing
couldn't
I
deal
can
with
do.
that.
I didn't evict them. You know, I didn't foreclose on them. All that happened over a year period, but it had nothing to do with me. It just gets to a certain point, and that's the end. And the bank hired somebody like me or whoever else.
Yeah.
And you show up, and there's a marshal there, a locksmith.
They don't understand that though, do they?
They don't
Most
get
of
it.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'd show up. There'd be a marshal, a locksmith, and me. And, you know, the marshal would go in, clear the house. And what that means is make sure there's nobody in there with a shotgun.
Right.
You know, and if there is anybody in there, the marshal tells them to leave. If they won't leave, then he cuffs them up, and that's it. That's why he's there. The locksmith then takes the locks off the door and puts new locks on. And then that's it. I go in, and literally everything from the front property line to the back property line, including anything in the house and in the yard, is at that point property of the actual owner, whether that's the bank or a landlord or whoever it is that foreclosed.
Right.
You know, so whatever you leave behind, when it gets to the point where the marshal and the locksmith is there, you no longer own it, whatever it is, and you run into some sad situations or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I spent some time doing that, and because of the housing crash, there wasn't enough people doing that to keep up with all the foreclosures. So it becomes supply and demand, right? So let's say there's 100 houses that need to be trashed out, and only 5 companies in that area that do it. Well, those 5 companies can then start demanding more and more and more money from the banks, because every bank wants their house done first. You know, do mine now. Okay, well, that's going to cost you $5,000. Then the other bank says, no, I want mine done first. Okay, $6,000. Whatever, I'm making numbers up. And so the cost to do the job that I was doing went through the roof, and there were people making a killing doing it. There were companies, that's all they did. They would travel 3-4 states. They'd go 3-4 weeks at a time. You know, it was unbelievable. But I got out of that. It was just, in the end, it wasn't for me. But that, because that, you know, that I was running my own business there, and then selling insurance, which was a commission-only job. Those 2 things sort of prepared me for, I think, what it takes to, if you want to do YouTube full-time, because there's no one else to rely on. You cannot, you know, if I call in, like, I don't have to work today. And you know, everybody thinks that's great. And it is great. And I never miss any of my son's soccer games. I'm not complaining. I love it. But if I don't work today, I don't get paid. There's no paid sick time. There's no paid vacation. There's no, you know, there's none of that. So it's a give and take. And yet there's a lot of advantages to it, but it's not all rainbows and unicorns, you know. One of the hardest things for me when I started doing this all the time was the perception of it from the people closest to me, you know, my family, my extended family, that kind of thing. It's like, somebody's got to be somewhere at 11. Well, Uncle Lou can do it. He's home. Well, Uncle Lou's, you know, just because you're home doesn't mean you're available all the time, you know, because I just happen to work from home.
I've heard that one many times.
Yeah, I just happen to work from home. You ever watch some of these other YouTubers, BVD, who could easily run their YouTube channel out of their house, but they don't. They rent out a place, and you say, why? Like, why?
Why spend the money?
I get it. I totally get it. If I could do that, I would 100% do it. I would get up every morning and go somewhere and do what I do. It's great to be here, but a lot of times I sort of wish it was somewhere else. But anyway, that matters.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. When you first mentioned that, I was thinking, why would you want to? But yeah, I kind of get it now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anything like, such and such needs to go somewhere and doesn't have a ride. Well, call Uncle Lou. He's home. Well, yeah, he's home, but he's working. You know. And that's why I had to, like, my terminology has changed over the last couple of years. Like, I used to say I'm going to work on a YouTube video. Now I should say I'm going to work. So leave me alone for 4 hours. I'm going to work. I'll be at work for 4 hours, whatever. At night, you know, when I come out to do the live shows, I got to work tonight. I quit even saying I'm going to do a YouTube video, because like they know that means they know what that means. They know, clearly they know that that YouTube is my job, but I quit just saying YouTube because it just gives people, oh, well, he's just doing a YouTube video. You know what I mean? It's a perception.
Well, for a lot of us, that's still the case, Lou.
Well, yeah, and I get that, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that was me for a long time too, and that's part of the reason why, because I didn't wake up one day and go, I'm going to start doing YouTube as my job today. Like I started YouTube, I still had a job,
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the beginning, talking about those trash out things, I used to make videos, on site sometimes. I would make videos of the houses I was at or whatever. I had to be careful about that because certain people would get mad or whatever. But if you go far enough back, I wouldn't even know what the names of those videos were if anybody wanted to try to look them up or whatever. But
are they still up?
Yeah, I've never deleted anything off the channel, so it would probably be the first year. It would definitely be the first or second year that I was on YouTube. Probably the first year, I would think. But
when was your first year? Now that you mentioned it,
I think it was I think I started in May of 2014.
Wow, are you sure it's been that recent?
It might have been 13.
Well, I guess you would know, but
it might have been 2013, but I think it was 2014. I think it was April or May of 2014, I think. Anyway. But it's 9:30, and like I said, I got the appointment at the tire place at 10, so we're going to have to wrap this up here pretty soon, I think.
Excellent. I survived without having to do it today.
Waikiki wants to know, how's the AC renovations coming?
Nah.
I can still promise you that they are coming, but as of right now, in terms of how are they coming, it hasn't started yet, but it will. I had to get through the holidays. It's hard to maintain any type of schedule, whatever. You got young kids, and then Lou Jr.'s birthday on top of that, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, bowl games on weird days, college football playoffs. I haven't had a lot of time to do, but anyway, point is, there will be an air conditioner in here before the weather turns. So whether that happens next week or next month or whatever, I'm not sure yet, but it's happening before April. I know that for sure. So that's how it's coming. But any final words this morning, BVD?
Yeah, I'm glad that you forgot about the pizza porn stories. Maybe we'll get to that later in the week.
I guess they'll have to tune back in on Wednesday to hear about your pizza porn. Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I wanted to hear about that, too. I'll have to tune in Wednesday, too.
You should.
I've
heard this is a pretty good show.
It is. It's an amazing show.
Now, I appreciate everybody, of course, for tuning in. Appreciate Uncle Lou. Hope you guys enjoy the game tonight. Hope your team wins. Unless your team's Alabama, which case you won't be playing tonight. Sorry about that. It's got to be hard for some of you, I'm sure. But hope everyone has a great week. Love you. Mean it. And all that.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
And sorry, Lou.
No, go ahead.
And if you're not doing anything tonight other than watching the game, come on over to BVD. If you're not a Patreon member of Uncle Lou's, come hang out with me at 8 o'clock tonight, and we'll live stream and watch the Tigers win an Addy tonight together.
Guys, guaranteed money right there. Tigers definitely winning. Really appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Please keep in mind and give me and BVD some time as we sort of all figure this thing out together with the morning show. I've said it a bunch of times. I'm going to say it again. The nighttime show that I put on now has become pretty popular. But it didn't start out that way. And what you see on my night shows now is nothing like what you saw on my night shows when they first started. But I listened to suggestions from people in the comment section. I tried things. If they worked, I did those things more. If they didn't work, I did those things less. This morning show will go the same way. This is still a fairly new show. It's only been around a couple of months. BVD's only been on here with me now for a couple of weeks. It's gonna get we're gonna make changes. We're gonna try things. Some will work, some won't. We're open to suggestions, but we really, really appreciate the support you guys have given. From the very beginning here. Almost 200 people watching this morning. That really means a lot to me and BVD both. And a big shout out to everybody in the super chat section this morning. Logan Jackson, Waikiki, Brian Biak, Bruce HL, Tim Mathis, Alex, and Matthew Perry. Waikiki says, not true. Alabama just claimed the 2020 title. Well, they're looking to claim the Super Bowl too. If they can, if the Titans can pull it off, Alabama will win its first Super Bowl title in a long, long time.
Being a neighboring state. Yep, you're right.
And plus with Derrick Henry, so clearly that would be an Alabama Super Bowl. Matthew Perry, thank you for the super chat. Says, have a good day, Uncle Lou and BVD. You too, Matthew Perry. And everyone else, too. Again, Matthew, Waikiki, Alex, Tim Mathis, Logan Jackson, Bruce HL, Brian Biak. Really, really appreciate the super chats. And everybody in the comments section. Christy, Alistair King, Russell Westbrook, Lawn Stars, T2Y. The Pine Cone is here. T2Y. Good morning, Pine Cone. Dogs
Love
Life
your
ADs.
movies. Love your movies, Matthew Perry, and love your island, Waikiki.
Yeah,
great contributions.
I don't love your movies, Matthew Perry, but they're okay. Melissa May, thank you for tuning in. Will, thank you. Bartholomew, Bob, EIEIO, thank you for tuning in. Mike Leach's Pet Sasquatch, man, thank you for tuning in. And I'm so excited to have you. And I've got an amazing. People ask about what I think about I've got an amazing Lane Kiffin Mississippi State video or Ole Miss. That whole situation with Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach. I've got a great video. I had to order something specifically for that video. It's on the way. In fact, I think I heard it get dropped off while we were on the air this morning, BVD. So that will be coming soon, but it's amazing. So be looking for that. Yes, I'll have a video on the Jamie Newman, DeJuan Mathis, Carson Beck situation. 2, let's get through this natty game. I know we have plenty of time to talk about all those sorts of things. Jordan Bowman, thank you, sir. No QB. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in this morning. If you're a Patreon member, I look forward to seeing you tonight for the national title game over on the Patreon page. Check it out about 7:45. There'll be a link posted. Click the link. It'll take you to the Uncle Lou live stream of the national title game. If you're not a member of the Patreon page and you want to be, click the link that says support the channel down below. It'll take you over to the Patreon page. It's a way, if you don't know what a Patreon page is, it's a way to directly support the creators, the YouTubers that you like and watch on a regular basis. And as YouTubers and creators, we provide certain perks and benefits to the people that choose to give us that support over on the Patreon page. And one of the things that I do is I live stream a lot of games with the people over on the Patreon page. That's what I'm doing for the Natty game. Check the Patreon page about 7:30. The link will be posted. Just click the link. It will take you to the stream. If you're not on the Uncle Lou Patreon page, watch the game with BVD over on his channel. Just type BVD in the YouTube search bar. You will pull BVD's channel up, and you guys can check him out. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Anything else, BVD, or I'm really going to end it?
Nah, go ahead and end it. Thanks, everybody. Everything he said, ditto. Love you guys, every one of you. Come see me tonight. Have a great morning.
And we'll be back Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Have a good morning.